Back again with another Big Brother Canada 4 eliminated interview. Here with Sharry. I practiced saying it in the mirror a few times. Am I saying it correctly?
Bang on.
Okay. So tell me how you're feeling.
I honestly feel fabulous. I feel fantastic. I had so much fun in the house, built a lot of really good relationships, and I'm excited to get back to life and watch the show.
I think one of the big storylines in the first 2 weeks of the show is your relationship with Loveita. Did you guys just connect in the first week, or was it sort of predicated by the fact that she won HOH and you're like, oh, I got to get in with the HOH?
Oh my goodness, no, absolutely not. In the first episode, we were all just kind of liming together, and then Loveita actually found me and approached me and said she liked my energy and she wanted to work with me. And I was just like, oh, this could work. And so we went from there, and then it just so happened that after I got knocked off by Nick in the first competition, Loveita won the HOH, so it worked out.
How much do you blame Loveita for your eviction?
Oh my gosh, I don't blame her for my eviction. I know that we were really close, and honestly, I was evicted because of the house guests and whatever they perceived was going on.
When you're on the block against like one of your closest friends in the house, how hard is that? Like, is it hard to sort of campaign? Because it's kind of like, yeah, I want to stay, but to do so, I'd be sort of campaigning against my friend.
Right. It was really tricky because, again, we were working together, and I absolutely didn't want to throw her name under the bus or anything like that. So it was hard because when I'd walk in a room and I saw her having conversations, I knew she was whispering about how to get me out. Well, not really how to get me out, but to keep her. So it was definitely hard being up there against her. 100.
I liked sort of seeing that scene. There was a scene in last night's episode. I'm not sure if you've seen the full episode yet, but Loveita was sort of like talking to like Maddie, and it seemed like she was cool with like campaigning, whereas you sort of sat back a little bit. Was that an active strategy, and do you regret sort of not campaigning a little bit more?
I definitely was out there campaigning. I don't really know the strategy that Loveita took. I don't know what she was telling people, but she said she was telling the facts. I didn't think I was laying back too much, but I was just trying to build relationships with people still, and still trying to let people know what my game was, which was to be honest with them and what I brought to the table. So maybe I wasn't as aggressive as she was, but I definitely did my thing.
It seems like, and I don't think it seems, there are two sides on the house. Do you see that ever changing?
Absolutely. There are people floating around, so I absolutely see things changing from week to week to week. It's so hard to predict what's going to happen next in the house. So yeah, I can see that definitely changing.
I think my favorite part of the show this season has been the fact that like this whole like under the radar strategy doesn't seem to be working. Like typically when you're on the block, you know, it's best to sort of lie low and sort of like carry out the week. But this time I feel like they're targeting the people that are playing over the radar. They want to keep the over the radar people in the house, you know, because you're keeping a target in front of you.
Right.
That was the case with Kelsey last week. It was the case with Loveita this week.
Right.
Does that surprise you, the fact that under the radar might not be working so much this season?
It doesn't really surprise me because I feel like there's some people in the house, instead of them wanting to make big moves to get people out, they're trying to find ways to keep themselves safe. So if keeping a target in the house is better for them so that they're not the target, then let's do it that way. And for me, I'm not really about that. It's like, let's band those strong people together and let's make some moves. But people are, I guess, not so confident in their game that they want to keep those targets in there away from them. So...
Was it your strategy to sort of lay low?
Absolutely not. My strategy was to go in there, build personal relationships with people, and hope that that would penetrate people's hearts, and they would see what I'm capable of and want to work together. But I think it really just depends on the personalities that are in the house with me, and I didn't really have that working in my favor.
Nikki voted to keep you in the house, and she was the only one.
Yeah.
Was that because of like your relationship in the house, or do you feel like it was a game move? Like maybe I'll vote to keep her, but then blame it on somebody else. I don't know. I don't know if Nikki can pull that off.
No, I mean, I had a great relationship with Nikki. We really got along. I love her. I think she's so funny. But the truth is, Nikki and Tim weren't here the first week, and they didn't get to compete, so they decided to split their votes. And Nikki was responsible for evicting Loveita, and Tim was responsible for evicting me. So that's why I had that one vote.
And what do you think about them? Like, what do you think about this whole twist of having international wildcards play the game just like regular Canadian house guests?
I love it. I don't have a problem with it. I think it's so cool and refreshing to have two people come into the house who are playing a completely different game. Because in the UK and in Australia, you don't actually vote each other out. Your country decides to choose who's evicted. So it was very refreshing to have that in the house. and also to have their personalities and their cool accents. So I liked it, and I wanted to keep them around. I never really had the idea of making them targets, ever.
Who do you think, and I'm going to preface this by saying you can't say Loveita, who do you think is playing the best game in the house?
Oh, I think that the best game being played right now is Mitch. Mitch is just kind of coasting around. People like Mitch. Nobody knows what his plan is. Nobody knows what Mitch is thinking. But Mitch knows what everybody's thinking because people are kind of just talking to him and making plans with him. So I think he's doing a really good job.
Loveita obviously has dominated this interview, and she dominated the HOH competition again yesterday. Yeah. What do you think her best play is?
I'm so proud of Loveita, so good on her, and I think that her best play, I mean, let's do this. Let's get the power out of the house. Let's get Jared and Kelsey up on that block, and let's see what the house decides to do. I think if she does that move, she'll get a lot of intel from the votes. Yeah.
And what's next for you?
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to see what's next for me. I'm just ready to get back to my life, go out there and see what's lined up and just enjoy myself. I'm so excited to see what's next.
Sharry, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
It was so much fun.
Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.